Welcome back, listeners, to the Cosmic Confluence podcast, the space where energy meets purpose and the transformation is always just one breath away. I'm your host, Sana, and today's guest is someone whose story cracked open my heart and lit up my curiosity. Listeners, joining us is Sophia Torrini. She is a transformation catalyst, certified clinical EFT practitioner, and specialist in hacking reality. Her own healing journey from battling a life threatening chronic illness to becoming a global guide for personal empowerment is not just inspiring, it's a proof that we all can rewire our minds and reclaim our wellness. And also, listeners, Sophia holds a master's in public health and she's trained under Dr. Joe Dispenza. And she's here today to talk to us about strength, mindset, coaching, and how to break free from the loop of suffering and self sabotage. So, with that, let's quickly dive in. Sophia, welcome to the show, and it's such an honor to have you with us.
Oh, thank you very much. And it's an honor to be here on your show and the lovely introduction. I really appreciate it.
Beautiful, beautiful. So, Sophia, your journey is remarkable from chronic illness to radiant health, uh, to embark on your own healing journey and now helping others out there, embark on their healing journey also. So, when people think of strength, we often picture something like external, we are looking good, muscular, or maybe full of energy, smiling, happy all the time, pushing through and grinding through. We are okay from external appearance. But your version seems more rooted. So how exactly do you define strength, Sophia?
Strength is an inner power, not what we necessarily show on the outside world, even though certain signs come out like confidence. Um, and it depends. If you want fitness, you may be very muscular, but real strength comes to be able to navigate adversity without totally going well, actually not totally, without going to a fight or flight mode or without being overwhelmed or without um, kind of emotionally collapsing. So when you can handle your emotions whenever there's adversity, that is considered inner strength. And that means you can pretty much master any aspect of your life, whether it's health or even business. Because if you can master your emotions, you can master anything in this reality. So that's what I would determine as strength, not necessarily if I've gone to the gym
Mhm.
all week long and lift 100 pounds or whatever that is.
Yeah, I love that I love the way how you define strength. And I also believe that true strength, it often looks like surrender. Sometimes that calmness or that patience or just asking for help, having that self awareness itself in a deeply intuitive and powerful way is a way to exhibit or practice your strength. So, uh, Sophia, do you find that surrender is a muscle we build, or it is something within all of us, but we do not realize?
It's a muscle that we slowly build. In the beginning, we have tons of resistance because we think if we surrender,
Mm-hmm.
and lose control. But who are you surrendering to? You're actually surrendering to your higher self, and your higher self knows what's best for you. Your higher self does not have the limited view that you're seeing. So it's something that cannot be done super easy. It took me a while to surrender and a
Mhm.
while to let go of beliefs. And what are beliefs? Let's address that. If you really break the word down, is to be in the lie. There's not the in there, but it's to be in lie. So beliefs actually limit us most of the time. There could be some empowering beliefs, but the majority of beliefs we have,
Mhm.
actually, even the positive ones, can be limiting. So true surrendering happens when there's a knowing and a trust. And that does not require a belief. It's an evolution above, beyond belief. So you surrender to your higher self and you have an inner knowing that you're guided to the best place, the same way a child surrenders to the parent, knowing that the parent is going to take care of them.
Mhm. That is such a beautiful, beautiful way of explaining, Sophia.
Thank you.
Uh, and since you mentioned that it took a lot of time for you to surrender, would you like to share your journey? From your chronic illness to how you embarked upon your healing journey.
Absolutely. So, I guess stress brought me with some physical symptoms, and due to my increased anxiety at the time and not being able to stand up for myself, even though I did stand up, but I didn't keep on arguing, I ended up with an unnecessary surgery that almost caused my life, which I wasn't expected to live. And I ended up 23 days in the hospital with my organs shutting down completely, almost completely. Uh, and after I survived that experience, I ended up having now multiple symptoms and a chronic disease that I was patching for maybe 16 years.
Mhm.
And eventually I felt, someone who is super healthy, works out, slender, slim, a runner, can't go overnight to your deathbed. So what they were telling me did not resonate. And I started reaching and studying out for alternative stuff. And I ended up with Dr. Joe Dispenza's teachings, 'cause I had a feeling that the body knows how to heal, but I didn't fully believe it, having been indoctrinated in the medical field, and then
Mhm.
sooner or later, well, it took a while, but eventually, with combination of EFT, because the emotions had to be released,
Mhm.
after 18 months, I was able to heal. So once I made a commitment, not when I started studying, once I made a full commitment that this is the approach I was gonna take, it took me 18 months. And people are gonna say, "Well, 18 months is a long time," but I was programmed for over 40 something years, actually 50 years, with all these false beliefs, and I was sick for 16 years. So, 16 years cannot disappear overnight. For some people it does, but for me it didn't. But eventually I gave up all my meds and everything else, and I'm not reliant on the medical model anymore.
Wow. Um, that is quite a journey. Quite a journey. And you have helped Sophia break deeply ingrained thought patterns, and although there in my multiple conversations, I've learned this, that our subconscious brain, or the subconscious part of the brain, it holds that 90% of the data. It can be your childhood, it can be the experiences up there, the surroundings we grow up with, and the 10% of that conscious data, conscious portion we use. So our subconscious, it has all the data there. So what's one belief or thought loop that most people don't realize is holding them back?
When it comes to healing, it's I can't heal. I've had it for too long, or the medical model knows best. So that is a very difficult belief, which I had to face, and other people's have to face. and eventually work through it and take steps, which is why it took me longer than I would have wanted. But still, 18 months compared to 16 years is not a long time. And slowly, really trust that the body knows what it does best. But I want to address a concept that most people may not be familiar. Most of our symptoms come up uh, during the healing phase, not necessarily at the stress phase, but because we're fighting the body and because we constantly have more hanging emotional conflicts, the body doesn't heal, which was what's happening with me. So, obviously, I had the fear of death because I was told I had 3 days to live. Actually, it was 2, it wasn't 3, and it just get kept on repeated. So which would explain why my lungs collapsed because the lungs, affect there's certain programs the body has, and, the fear of death always goes to the lungs. Things that you can't digest go to the intestine, an indigestible, angry morsel. This is based on German new medicine. So, letting go of these limitations and trusting that the body knows how to heal and realizing when the symptoms come up, it's the body trying to detoxify. And then what we do is we go and take meds or we put the cortisone cream or we do whatever it is, and that is not healing the issue, which is why people now have chronic conditions, which is why I ended up with an autoimmune condition. It became chronic and I was attacking myself.
Mm, mm. And it's also really wild how many of us have that same kind of core wound that I am not enough. It can be imposter syndrome, or it can be lack of worthiness or fear of being noticed or seen. And we kind of wear these masks of productivity or people pleasing to cover it up. So I mean, so much of healing is like unlearning, Sophia, isn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, we can't blame ourselves. The basic thing is we don't feel good enough. How can you feel good enough if there were constant ads depending on the year, right? So in the 70s, you had to be bone thin. Now the heavier look is coming back. I mean, no matter what you do, you never look perfect. No matter what you wear, there's always something better. And what you eat is not good enough. So you've been programmed. So let's address the subconscious mind because I think it's important. All our
Mhm.
programming comes from our first 7 years. And why does it happen on our first 7 years? There's a good reason for it. First of all, the first 6 months, you're in delta brainwaves. So in delta waves, which is why babies sleep, don't have any cognitive awareness. And then you shift to alpha brainwaves. Alpha brainwaves is the same brainwaves hypnotists use to hypnotize you. So we've been spelled upon with all of this stuff from the external world, or what was that, whatever happening in your household environment. If you were told you were not good enough, you're not smart enough, or the school, and so the range, you actually go from the delta to theta. Theta is definitely deep programming, and then you shift to alpha towards 7 years old. So you go from delta to kind of theta, alpha, and then there's a combination. They pretty much they both flow alpha, theta. Those are programming states. It's only till after 7, and sometimes it could extend depending on your growth till 13 that you don't have a cognitive mind and which is beta brainwaves. And now you have peer pressure by the time you're 13 years old and your world starts falling apart. So you're so confused that you don't really know what to do. And it's unfortunate that has happened, but the truth of the matter is it wasn't your fault. And the good news is you can change it.
That's the biggest thing, that yes, you can definitely change that. definitely. Wow, that's really a very, scientific explanation to this, not only from the lens of other factors, but scientifically, I think you really explain it well, Sophia. And also, you work as a transformation catalyst, which I love that name, because it speaks to alchemy. So how does your coaching approach blend science, energy work, and mindset to create real transformation, Sophia?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm a clinical EFT, which is evidence-based EFT. So it's not like, other EFT people take a course. So we've been trained and, to do evidence-based EFT, and it has been tested. So first, and we do know tapping calms you down. So there's research that you can down regulate the stress gene, or cortisol, with EFT. And then I use, after we clear the emotions and we've neutralized, I used hacking reality, which is you go back into the past and you rewrite those memories. Because why? Memories are held between neurons. So what we're doing is we're pruning the synaptic connection with EFT. So we're cutting off that synaptic connection, and what holds that memory is the emotional charge, which I've already removed with EFT. And now we keep on rewiring a new memory and a new empowering emotion and belief, which is all based on neuroscience. And furthermore, I also teach a course of Dr. Joe Dispenza, Change Your Mind, Create New Results, because knowledge is the precursor to the experience. And if you know how it works and why it works, you're more likely to do it. And it's a very empowering package. It's exactly what I used for myself. I've added one thing for myself, which I do use on clients. I use German new medicine, or meta consciousness, that's called, and they're almost the same, to find the biological cause of the condition if there's a health matter involved. And you end up being lighter and healthier, and you're not so caught up in stress. The body is just feeling more happy and you're more at ease with the world.
Hmm. And I, how much time does this process take, Sophia? I think I guess it's going to take a lot of time. I mean, typically.
No, it actually, clinical EFT has been shown is more effective than therapy and takes a shorter amount of time. So I had a client that had Tourette's. She took six sessions and it was cleared. I had one woman who did panic attacks, took 10, but I've had other people who are very resistant, and I was one of them, and it took a very long time.
Mm.
So the findings come out depending how open you are. I just had a lady that has acromegaly condition, and she has found out her patterns, and she also has a skin condition, and she found out the root cause. Now, how long it's going to take, it's dependent on her.
Mm. Makes sense. Makes sense. And how do all this translate in the business settings, Sophia? I mean, um, we often read or become aware about people talking about imposter syndrome, or again feeling like I'm not good enough for this job or this role, or maybe something is kind of blocking them to take risks in their business, or maybe we're not able to uh, handle things properly. So how does this translate to the business setting?
It does translate in the business setting. So there must have been some beliefs, again, between the ages of birth till about 13,
Mm-hmm.
programmed that usually behind uh, the imposter syndrome is a version of I'm not good enough, or I'm not worthy to have this income, or I won't succeed, or whatever it is. And with EFT, you can uncover that very fast. And for people who are entrepreneurs or into the business world, the biggest investment anybody can make is on themselves. And a lot of people start with courses and they stay with courses. But this reality, you have to embody it. So courses in the beginning are great, but if you can't embody and master what you've learned in the course, it's not going to get you there. And that's why we need somatic modalities, and EFT is one of them. And so a person who has an imposter syndrome has a limiting belief plus an emotion associated with it. And the emotion is the glue that holds the belief. So a lot of people try to change it with affirmations. It's not going to work because if you have a subconscious belief, it's not getting past your brainstem. So why people get exhausted and you ended up feeling worse. And that's why I highly recommend somatic modalities. Modalities that work with the body, releasing emotions. By releasing emotions, you can release the belief. And EFT is the best one ranked. There are some other ones that rank pretty high, but they, from my experience, take a little longer, and a few of them didn't work. So breath work is a very good modality, but you don't always get the cognitive shift, and you need the cognitive shift. There are some somatic experiences that are great, but again, they take a little bit longer. And the reason EFT works faster is because it combines cognitive therapy with the somatic modality, which is tapping on the body. So we're tackling two things at the same time because we have the personality, which is the ego or the persona that needs to be voiced.
Mm. Wow. I think that multi-layered lens is so needed. Um, Also, let's take this from a contradictory perspective, Sophia. The some critics would argue that the mindset movement, it has become too individualistic, almost bypassing systemic or collective trauma. So how do you balance personal empowerment with honoring the real life struggles people face?
I'm not sure I got the question.
Mhm.
I will answer what I think I heard and then correct me. So the mind and the heart need to be in balance to navigate this world. And there's not brain and heart coherence. We won't be successful in our art. Well, we might succeed, but we're going to pay a price for it down the road, stressing the body or something else. We might succeed if we are completely mind oriented for a while, but the body is going to be taxed.
Mhm. No, no, I completely agree with you, and you got it right because some critics would say that okay, if you're just talking about your mindset, about your beliefs and all, it's you're like ignoring the problems in the outer world, but it's not exactly about ignoring the outer world. It's more about cultivating that um, inner strength or resilience to engage with it more skillfully, and that exactly is that ripple effect. When one person, yeah, yeah, go on, Sophia.
I know. Well, I was going to say absolutely, but let's discuss what the outer world is. So the outer world is a projection of your mind based on your thoughts and emotions. So the thought is an electrical charge that goes out, and the emotion is a electromagnetic or magnetic charge that brings it back to you. And we've known, it's been studied now, that the emotional component has a larger electromagnetic field.
Mm.
So if you want to improve your reality on its own, the mindset is going to completely tax you. The mind and body, so there's three, have to be in alignment. So the emotional, the physical, and the mental have to be aligned. Why? Because we have three parts in the brain. So we have the neocortex, which is your conscious awareness. We have the limbic brain, which is the emotional mammalian brain, and we have the cerebellum, which is the microprocessor. So all three bodies have to be aligned if you want to be truly having inner strength. When you look at the gurus, or you look at Tony Robbins, or you look at Dr. Joe Dispenza, they've mastered all three parts, and it's an inner exuberance of power that comes out. Does Dr. Dispenza work out? Yeah, but he doesn't lift 200 pounds, but you can feel his power. You can look at Tony Robbins, you can look at many other people. Uh, and they all come when they've balanced all three. It's a trinity structure, and it's very important if you want to live a fulfilling life or be successful long term in your business.
Wow. Wow. That's really, really, very insightful explanation, Sophia. Um, Also, you also specialize in hacking reality. So, maybe some of us listeners would think that this sounds a little sci-fi. So, can you break it down for our listeners? What exactly does this mean in someone's everyday life settings?
Absolutely. So I kind of made a reference to it before. It's rewriting your past. So what happens is, we know from quantum physics now that
Mhm.
we live in a multiverse. We actually live in a multiverse with dimensional mirrors.
Yep.
And when you go back into the past to heal that traumatic memory without reliving it, I want to stress that we don't relive the experience, because that would be traumatizing again. And when we rewrite a new memory or script for our younger self, what we're doing is we're shifting to a parallel timeline. And that's what hacking reality does. So you shift your version of you to a parallel timeline, and if you keep on doing, you shift, and you end up to the timeline where you feel your best self, you feel empowered, and you feel happy. As long as those traumatic memories stay in the body, whether you think about them or not, they're transmitting. Because I said before, emotions are magnetic, and
Mm.
thoughts are electric. So there's an electrical signal, there's a loop constantly playing at the back of your mind with this trauma, and you're not aware of it, which is why people go to sleep and they wake up exhausted. And I'd like to give a quick example so people can grasp that. Imagine you have a cell phone. So you charge your cell phone, you restarted it, and you notice the battery constantly drains. No matter what you do, you charged it, you restart it, it drains. And you go and check on it, and you see there were 20 apps open.
Mm.
Close the apps, and now you recharge and restart the phone, and there's no apps, the battery of the phone works better. You get several more hours. I know that with my tablet, because I forget sometimes to close the app.
Mm.
So the body is an electrical battery, and so these trauma memories are being replayed at night and during the day. Most of the time, we're not aware of it, but mostly at night, because the body wants to heal, in your hippocampus. And they're played in high definitions, and they never get stored properly. And that's where EFT hacking reality happens. We clear those, and now that memory can be reconsolidated and go to your neocortex, like another memory. Like, if I asked you what you ate 10 days ago, sounding, you're gonna say, "Well, I don't remember." Well, we want those traumatic memories to go to that storage place, and that's what EFT and hacking reality does.
Wow. You really used the perfect example, to kind of give that analogy with our human body and mind and the tablet or phone. Ah, wow, that was really, really great. So, Sophia, before we wrap up, how our listeners can connect with you and explore more about your work and resources.
Absolutely. So they can come to my website, tapintourbestself.com. I offer a 30-minute complimentary session just to get information. No pressure. I also have tons of free information and I write regular blogs on healing and stress, always backed up with neuroscience or science. I also offer a free masterclass, and my next masterclass, I believe, is going to be it's Thursday, April 17th, because I will be teaching in May Dr. Joe's Dispenza's course, Change Your Mind, Create New Results, which is a very powerful course that's been used actually with Coca Cola, uh, Google, a lot of major companies, especially if you're an entrepreneur, for their businesses. And both the masterclass and the consult are free. You can find me on all social media. Tap into your best self is the handle. I'm also going live for a demonstration on TikTok on Tuesday the 8th at 8 o'clock EST, 5 p.m. Pacific on Coach Amber's TikTok. So I'm going to do a demonstration on her TikTok platform. So I have a plethora of information, and I really would love to help anyone who is feeling stuck. I know how painful that is. And I was stuck for a very long time. I really never thought I was going to get out of it. And I'm here to guide people to feel empowered and become their best version of themselves, whether it's in their business or for their health or just their mental sanity. And on Facebook, it's tapintourbestself.org. And that's it.
I'll have all of the details in the show notes for our listeners, Sophia. And thank you so much for sharing your message, for beautifully reminding us that healing doesn't have to be loud or fast. And also, the one thing which I absolutely loved about your way of explanation is, you bring the credibility and the data alongside the intuition, and that duality, it builds trust. So I hope our listeners are taking a lot of takeaways and inspiration and strength from this conversation, and I encourage all of you to check out the show notes to connect with Sophia. And thank you so much, Sophia, for this soul nourishing conversation. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It was an honor in being on your show. Thank you. I'm very grateful.
And to all of you listening, once again, you are the artist of your own reality, listeners. Even amidst chaos, you hold the brush. And if today's episode moved you, share it with someone who needs to hear this. Until next time, stay curious, stay soft, and keep walking your cosmic path along with us. Thank you so much.